going to show you a quick stretching video, okay, an assisted one-on-one stretching video. And right now I'm going to do some stretches that target the low back, so flexibility in the low back as well as the hip flexors for somebody that has that sits a lot and has tight hamstrings and hip flexors. So right now I'm stretching a little bit of the opposite hip flexor as well as the calf. I'm going to go into the hamstring stretch. I like to do a couple reps of each stretch. It's actually called active isolated stretching, and it helps gain a little bit of range of motion with each repetition, opposed to just holding the stretch. I will hold briefly, but this has been proven to increase flexibility. Okay. And then I'm just going to do a little bit of rotation. So I'm going to hold this leg here and stabilize his other leg. Do a little bit of trunk rotation as well as getting into that piriformis and the glute on the left side. And then again, I'm going to bring a little bit of rotation. So I'm just going to put a little pressure on his foot here and bring his knee out. And that's going to get a little bit into the glute as well. You feel that in the glute?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, I'm just going to drop this hip down and I'm going to stretch out just a little bit of the front of the hip. So we're just going to let that leg fall down there. I'm going to stabilize the other hip bone there. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Perfect. Good. Okay, and I'm just going to help him bring it back up. I'm going to straighten out that leg. I'm going to go to the bottom here to his feet, and I'm just going to do a nice little leg pull while he's laying on his back still. Okay, so I'm just going to grab kind of under the heel and just do a gentle stretch, a little extraction of the hip, and this helps relieve some of the tension in the low back as well. Feel okay?
Yep.
I'm going to do both sides while I'm here before I switch to the opposite side. And I'm going to come to this leg, a little bit of the same thing here. Do a little bit of rotation with the hip flexion here. Kind of get that hip loosened up. Same thing here, kind of stabilize and try to get as much as the hamstring stretch as I can. You can see he has pretty good range here. And that other hip is, that other leg is 90 degrees there. I'm just going to rotate out a little bit and press, get a little bit into that piriformis here. And this is okay for him, it doesn't bother his knees at all. And then I'm going to go over and do a nice trunk rotation on this side. And that side is a little bit tighter, as you can maybe tell, than the other side. And I'm going to drop this hip down. Okay, and stabilize the opposite side and just let that relax and stretch out the front of the hip. A little bit of the inner thigh as well. Okay. Now what I'm going to have him do is lie on his right side. I'm going to do the quad stretch. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is stretch the front of the hip and a lot more into the quadricep here. Okay, so I'm going to stabilize him here. I'm just going to have him bend at the knee and hold on to the hip there. A little bit of pressure in the low back. And I'm just going to push forward. Does that feel okay?
Yeah, it's okay.
And a little bit of knee flexion, as much as you can handle. Nice, good. Okay, then I'm going to have him go right onto his stomach in the prone position. Good. Yeah, head in the headrest there. And now I'm just going to do a little bit of hip rotation, so some internal and external rotation. I'm just going to flex the knee to warm it up a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to hold it here, and I'm going to do a little bit of calf stretch as I do this. Okay, where I'm going to stabilize the top of the thigh because I just want rotation, internal and external rotation here, so it's not a lot of range. As I don't want the hip necessarily to move. So I want some true rotation. Sorry, I don't have too much pressure here on your body. Okay, and then again, I'm just going to do a little bit of a heel pull and stretch through his calf. Really get through the Achilles here, pulling from the heel. And then I'm going to plantar flex this foot up, stretch the front here like into the shin. Just going to do a couple reps here. Perfect, good. Then to the other side. So again, I'm just going to do some reps here. Flexion and extension. The warm up. You can see he has a little bit more range on this side as well. So again, I'm going to stabilize here. Rotation. Good. And then again, a little bit of a heel pull. And some plantar flexion here. Again, stretching the calf and the shin. And the ankle, getting some ankle range of motion. Excellent. I'm just going to let them rest down there for now. Good. So those are some of the stretches of the lower extremity.